Bowlers, we have some breaking bowling ball news. We just had 5 more bowling balls announced from Brunswick Bowling. We're going to talk about all 5 of those bowling balls in in-depth detail, looks at all 5, because I've actually seen all 5 go down the lane a good amount of times by now because of some early Brunswick seminars going on last month. So I'll be able to give you the most in-depth look on all of these bowling balls that'll be out on the internet. These balls were just released on today. What is it? November 11th. So these are all brand new. We're going to cover all 5 in depth. If you enjoy this kind of series, make sure to drop a subscription. We always release these videos first on the internet. We're some of the first in the world to actually post in-depth info on these balls. So if you want to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest releases, make sure to drop subscription. Otherwise, leave a like if you enjoy the video. We will go into more depth in these on our weekly live stream. So check out our live stream on November 12th. We're actually going to be with Brian Buckosh, who is a core designer at Brunswick, going into more detail on these 5 releases, plus some new quirks that are going to be going on with some of these balls. But let's kick it off looking at all 5 bowling balls in depth. We are starting off today with what is on the screen right now, the Zero Mercy series. Hammer is releasing a brand new massive ball. This is going to be the strongest ball in their lineup, the Zero Mercy Solid. Now, for any loyal Hammerheads from a couple of years ago, this has no relation to the other No Mercy bowling balls. They just kind of reuse the name but switch the no with zero. There's no correlation because I believe the No Mercy were lower end. This is not a low end ball. This is the strongest ball in Hammer's lineup. Let's look a little more into it. We dare you to put more oil out. Powered by the all-new Super Offset Core, inspired by the Offset and re-engineered for more dynamic power, the Zero Mercy Solid delivers relentless motion. This is kind of the big part that they push in the seminar a lot. Wrapped in HK22C squared, cutting-edge cover stock that blends cohesion with our new chrome additive, which makes it more aggressive. So 2 big things to take away from that. 1, this has a similar core to all of those 3D offset balls, just switch. I believe they said super offset. So it's based on that original offset design, just a little bit changed. So if you enjoy the 3D offset series from either years past or the current remakes, you might like this core. But the big part is a brand new evolution / iteration onto HK22C. Now it's HK22C squared. So if you see C squared on any of these, they're going to be super aggressive enough where if we look at the little number guide that Hammer gives us, the cover is a 12. For context, the max effect has a 10.75. So if we look up other ones, I think the Extreme Envy is going to be another good one that we can look at, which they should, still have. And that's only an 11. So from what I can tell, this is going to be this is going to be the strongest cover stock in Hammer's lineup or in all of the Brunswick lines. I will, from everything I've heard and seen so far, I will guarantee this is the strongest ball in the Brunswick lineup up to this point. Originally, before this, we had the Mesmerize. We had things like the Max Bias from years ago. Now we have the Zero Mercy taking the spot as the earliest and smoothest bowling ball on their lineup. Let's look at some core numbers, though, for the number nerds out there. We have a 2.52 RG and 15 pounds, 0.53 differential, 0.20 intermediate differential. So overall, the RG is much higher than you would expect for a ball that is this strong, but they're really making it core dominant. The 0.53 diff, 0.20 intermediate diff are also very high. So this ball is going to be just hook in a box. If you need that strongest and earliest ball reaction with a pretty decent colorway, I kind of like this colorway a lot. It's a little old school. This could be a good option for you. Now, the big thing to keep track of, the 16-pound version has a radically different differential. The differential drops by a ton, so this won't be the strongest ball in your bag if you're a 16-pound bowler. This is not going to be as strong as the 15-pound varieties. It's going to be a little bit weaker because that core is going to flare a good amount more. It goes from a high diff core to like a medium / almost medium lower core compared to what's on the market right now. So very interesting there. This ball is coming in at $195. The other interesting thing is we have 9 days until this ball releases. Brunswick is doing a brand new marketing tactic where they're releasing their balls only 9 to 10 days after they announce them. They used to give them 3 weeks. Every other company gives 3 weeks. Brunswick said, nah, we're going to give them 9 days. This is interesting because I feel like some balls aren't going to get the marketing love that they should. Now, Brunswick's marketing is never top tier. They never are as good as the other companies with being able to showcase what the ball does, where it fits, and all of that, they kind of rely on specific ball reviewers to do that, which is interesting. But we will see how this ball does. We have 9 days, so you can still pre-order it, $195. But we spent a lot of time on the Zero Mercy Solid. We also have the Pearl version. This is literally the same thing, just HK22C squared Pearl. So again, the cover stock, very, very strong. The core, not that crazy strong. The big comparison I wanted to look at with the Zero Mercy Pearl, because we covered pretty much everything about it already with the Solid, what does it do to the hammer effect? The effect is still in the lineup, still doing well. We see a 27.25 total. We see 10.5, 7.75, and a 9. If we go to Zero Mercy Pearl, 27.5 with higher core, higher cover, same finish, weaker core. So this versus the effect is going to be a very interesting comparison. I feel like they're going to be a little too close together, but I'm really hoping we see some comparisons between this and that effect to really know, do you need both? My guess is no, you don't need both if you have less than 6 balls in your bag, but why would you get this over the effect, which is one of the best balls a hammer has released in a while? The other thing with the Zero Mercy Solid, to all ball reviewers out there, I know none of you watch these videos, but if you do, I would love to see this versus the Jackal Onyx versus the Ion Max, the hook monsters from all 3 companies. But Zero Mercy Pearl, this ball's also coming in at $195, also releases November 20th. Let's go to the other bowling balls. We're going to go to one more hammer bowling ball. It's a cement block, the new 2.0. This is a remake slash evolution slash replacement slash new counterpart, new identity of the new blue. This is still an NU bowling ball, so not urethane. I don't think they put the hardness on here, do they? They do not, but this is not urethane. I am not sure if it's 78 hardness or not. Unfortunately, we are not seeing that. I don't remember if the new blue had to be 78 either, but either way, the new 2.0, this is basically trying to do what the new blue was meant to do. The new blue, the biggest issue with it was really weak. The cover stock felt super weak, so it felt like a weak and smooth ball more than an actual fake urethane bowling ball. This one, everybody that I've been talking to, everyone that I've heard talk about it, has saying this is actually what a replacement of urethane would be like. This is a lot closer to that realm because we know there's a lot of urethane guidelines out there right now and rules, and we can all pretty much guess there's going to be a urethane ban sometime in 2026 or even harder clampdowns on it. So this would be what you can throw instead of an actual purple hammer, black hammer, whatever it may be. Now, the Brunswick guys are a lot more confident about this one than they were about the new blue. The new blue just kind of came out sporadically. This one, they have a lot more backing on, which is a good sign, but I'll be very curious to see how it does on actual tournament conditions. I was only able to see it on house shots, and it was definitely a lot earlier and smoother. It really reminded me of the Rattler NU. It's, I think, a little less flare, but a little stronger cover stock than that Rattler NU. So if you have all the NU bowling balls, it'll be this first, Rattler NU second, then you're going to go the new blue in the last spot. So this one could be very interesting. This could either shake up the bowling world in a sense, where this can be the thing that Brunswick staffers throw at like the US Open or the Masters, or it's just not going to be good and it's going to kind of get the Rattler NU treatment and be $90 off in like a month. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think this one will do pretty well, especially with the hammer logo on it compared to a Radical logo. This ball is coming in at $150. So pretty cheap, pretty okay price for a ball like this. So if you want to try an NU ball and you're missing your new blue, here you go. But let's look at the final 2 balls that were announced. We have one from Deviate, one from Ebonite. I put these last because I assume people are going to care a little bit less, but there are some interesting quirks with these. So Brunswick understands that hammer is the best selling brand, then Brunswick, and then the rest just are kind of there. But so they're trying to add evolutions to these bowling balls to try to push them a little bit further. Coming in now is the Heckler Hybrid. This is, if we were looking at it any other month, we would say, yeah, it's just a hybrid Heckler, which it is. It's the same exact cover stock, same exact core, just the hybrid version of the HK22C Maximum Havoc compared to the solid version that was on the past Heckler that you can now get for like $105 online. Still in the line, still being made, but just nobody wants that ball for some reason. But let's start. This ball is, again, no thumb bowling ball technology. Deviate's trying to make themselves the no thumb bowler option. When you see the reviews, you're going to see a whole ton of two-handers throwing this bowling ball. But we believe two-hander, we talk about all that. Featuring the same two-hander engineered unholy core wrapped in HK22C Maximum Havoc Hybrid. More length, cleaner option. Exactly what you'd expect. This is a shiny ball. This does come polished, so it's going to be longer and quicker than that Heckler Solid. I have been told, though, something that we'll talk about tomorrow is that there's some unique cover stock changes that are in this Heckler Hybrid. So I don't know much about them now because a little surprisingly, they didn't talk about it on the Deviate page, but I believe there's some new tech involved, and we'll be able to talk to Brian Buckosh about that tomorrow on our live stream. So make sure to join that so you can learn a little bit more about what that cover stock tech really does. Really nothing too else crazy about this Heckler Hybrid. We do have the new ball chart for Deviate. We're seeing the Heckler way up here in the heavy oil end, and the Heckler Hybrid is way down here. So whatever they did to that cover stock, it's weirdly weaker than everything else. I cannot believe they put the Hater Pearl above it, because that Hater Pearl is pretty long and quick, but the Heckler Hybrid is apparently weaker, but a similar downlane motion. So that's kind of interesting. That's very interesting that there was this massive of a drop off from the solid to the hybrid version, even though it's in the same realm. It's the same cover stock at the end of the day. So very, very odd. I'm intrigued by this ball. I'm very intrigued. I thought the Heckler was good at the end of the day. I thought it was a great ball. It just wasn't well liked. Like, people just didn't buy it. If a ball doesn't sell, it doesn't mean it's bad a lot of the time. It means it got overshadowed. So that's kind of Brunswick's marketing tactics failing there with a lot of these lesser bowling balls. They just don't do a good job marketing them. So hopefully that gets fixed soon. This ball is coming in, I'm seeing at $190. This is a $190 ball overall. But let's finally go to the one that I have a feeling nobody's going to care about, but it is the Entity Pearl, because the reason I say that is because the Ebonite Entity is one of the most forgotten bowling balls of 2025. I made a video a little while ago about the most forgotten balls. This was on there, and I had a couple people who said good things about it, but overall the Entity just isn't around. It's just not getting sales. It's just not being thrown by a lot of people. It did win a PBA title, I found out, but it hasn't really gotten much love. It seems like it's a decent ball, but it just isn't getting the love that it might deserve. I don't know. We haven't seen it enough to say anything, but now we have a Pearl version. So it's exactly the same thing, just Pearl cover stock. It is that HK22C optimized cover stock that was on the Crusher Hybrid and the second Crusher Hybrid, and then also on the original Entity. So same exact cover stock formula. Core numbers for this guy, 2.515. 052020. So again, higher RG, higher differential. This is backwards of what Brunswick did on their last releases. When they released the Criterion Inverse, the Alert, and all of those, they all had low RG, low differential. These are all high RG, high differential, which is kind of interesting, kind of unique, kind of like that in a certain way. But that is the Entity Pearl. If we look at the marketing ploy for it, the Entity Pearl builds on that performance with cleaner look, stronger finish, featuring a smoother Pearl version of the Entity cover. The Entity Pearl creates more length and an easy motion through the mid lane and back end compared to the solid. It fits the first one was a solid? Oh yeah, it was a shiny solid. It fits perfectly between the Crusher Hybrid and original Entity, making it a go-to piece for transition and medium conditions, especially in League. That is very interesting that it fits between the Crusher Hybrid and the Identity. That is not where I expected this to go. The Crusher Hybrid's gone, so very surprising that they mention it here. It has been discontinued. So a little bit surprising. Do we have anything on the info sheet? No. Do we have anything on the ball talker? No. Disappointing. But that is where this Entity Pearl fits, which is going to be a little unique. So it's supposed to be smoother than a couple of the other bowling balls. So a smoother Pearl option is something that Brunswick doesn't really have much of. So might not be terrible. The one terrible thing, it's $190. These 5 releases, 4 of them are $190 or more. So I have some numbers from Brunswick that are a little bit surprising. They are now skyrocketing the amount of asymmetrical bowling balls that they're producing. We'll have a State of Bowling video coming soon, but they are now the second most expensive company because they are releasing so many strong bowling balls. They pretty much ignored their bottom of the bottom line, and then they replaced it with all of these big ASIMs. Most of their lineup is asymmetrical right now. I believe it's almost 60%. So we're getting a lot of ASIMs from Brunswick. So they're trying to make themselves the asymmetrical company right now with these releases. cases, it also adds on to it. So very interesting. We'll have a lot more of that in coming videos, but that is going to be all. So to watch that video or any other future ones, make sure to subscribe, make sure to drop a like, drop a comment if you have questions. I have a little more tell on these balls than other ones in the past, just because I've seen them a bit. So let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you on the next one.